Hello and welcome to my channel, Sandra's Homespun Life. In today's video, I'm going to try a new recipe that I've never made before, and it's called Burgundy pork tenderloin. Now I'll leave the original recipe link down in the description box below, and you can check it out for yourself. I'm going to make some adjustments to it. In the original recipe, it calls for 2 pounds of a pork tenderloin. I have actually two that average out, both of them together, about 5 pounds. So I'm just going to tweak my recipe a little bit so that I can fix both of those pork tenderloins today and just increase some of the ingredients a little bit. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you the ingredients that I'll be using for this recipe. The ingredients I'll be using for this recipe is pork tenderloin. Now I have 2 tenderloins that averages out to the 5 pounds, so that's what I'm going to be using. I'll be using 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 package of brown gravy mix, and 2½ cups of red wine. So for my first step, I'm just going to season these pork tenderloins with the salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Now I've measured out 1 teaspoon of each one of the ingredients, and as I go to sprinkling this on, if I feel like I need to add more, I will adjust it then. So I'm going to go ahead and get my salt on there. Some pepper. And now my garlic powder. Now I'm going to flip those over and coat the other side. I have my pork tenderloins all seasoned up and ready to go. So now I'm ready for my next step. Now the original recipe doesn't call for searing the pork tenderloins, but I'm going to do that anyway to mine to add a little color and make it more appealing and help seal those juices into the pork tenderloin. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm also going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees. So let's get that started. I have my skillet on a medium-high heat. I'm going to allow this to come up to temperature and get real hot. I'm going to lightly coat my skillet with a little bit of vegetable oil spray, and then I'm going to sear each side of these pork tenderloins. Okay, I've allowed my pork loins to sear on both sides, so I'm going to remove them from the pan and place them in a 9x13 baking dish. Now that my pork tenderloins are seared on both sides, I'm ready for my next step. Now I've placed them in my 9x13 baking dish, and my next step is simply to just pour the red wine over the pork tenderloin. Now it calls for a red wine. I'm not an expert on wines, never have, so this is my first time actually cooking with it. But I did some research online, and I didn't invest a real big price in wine. I found at Walmart in their liquor section that they have this wine here. I'm not really sure how you would pronounce it, but it's a Malbec Reserva. So, you know, maybe you can look at this and look it up on Walmart, or use your favorite brand of red wine. Like I said, I don't know anything about wine, so I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants on this recipe. But that's the one I chose to try, so we'll see how it turns out. So for my next step, I'm just going to pour the red wine over top of the pork tenderloin. I'm going to place it in the oven, which I have preheated at 350 degrees. And I'm going to allow that to bake for about 45 minutes or until cooked through. So I'm going to get this in the oven and let it bake, and I'll bring y'all back when it's ready for the next step. Okay, my pork tenderloin has been removed from the oven and they are cooked completely through. So what I'm going to do next is remove this meat from this baking dish over to a separate dish, and I'm going to take the liquid that's left in my baking dish and put it over into a pot and add the brown gravy mix to it and cook it down a little bit. Next, I'm going to add my brown gravy mix to the liquid that I've transfer it over to my little kettle. I'm just going to add that into the liquid. Use my whisk and stir it up. Okay, I went ahead and turned my burner up to high to bring this to a boil quicker. I believe that's going to work a little better. And I'm just going to watch it and allow it to cook down a little bit. And hopefully it'll thicken up a little bit. Okay, I've been stirring this for about 5 minutes on high. And it has cooked down and it's thickened, so I've turned my burner off. And I'm going to remove it from the heat and I'm going to go pour it over top of my pork tenderloin. I'm ready to plate this up and give it a try. That's delicious, you all. That pork tenderloin is seasoned just right. It's not too strong. You still get the flavor of all the salt and pepper and the garlic powder. And that sauce adds another element of flavor to it. This recipe is really great. I'm glad I went ahead and fixed it. I love it. I wouldn't have a bit of problem fixing it again. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe and share my videos. And until next time, guys, bye.